If there's one vegetable that you should always have in a home garden, it's lettuce. I've personally saved loads of money by growing my own lettuce at home, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can do the exact same thing in 5 very simple steps at home in containers, 100% organic, and the best part, affordable. Hello everyone, this is Dylan from the TheTriniGardener channel, and I'm really glad that you made it for this one because we're going to be talking about my favorite lettuce in containers. We're going to start off by talking about containers. If you remember from my tomato growing guide, I showed you how to prepare your containers for growing tomatoes. The same concept is going to apply with lettuce. The main thing being you have to have drainage holes at the bottom. You want to make sure that the water has somewhere to go when you water your plants, or if rain falls on your plants. You don't want the water to settle in. That's going to be very bad for your lettuce. So remember, drainage holes in your containers. So now that we've got our container, we're going to need to fill it up with some good soil. Remember, I talk about this a lot. A good soil has at its base good organic matter in it. It has good drainage, but also good water retention. Okay, so if you remember from my tomato growing guide, I like to make my own potting mix simply because it's so expensive to buy potting mix, right? So here I've got some topsoil. Here I've got my Pro Mix. Now remember, Pro Mix is just a brand, right? It sells a growing mix. This here has vermiculite, it has limestone, it also has perlite in it, and peat moss. Okay, really good mix, but this in itself doesn't have any nutrients, so that's why I have my topsoil, and here I have some leaf compost. When I talk about organic matter, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, if you look in that, I have little bits of broken down leaves. I have little bits of sticks. All of this is going to hold on to moisture but also allow for good drainage. So I'm just going to mix all of these together, and this is going to be my own homemade potting mix. Remember guys, you don't need to spend a lot of money to grow anything at home. All right, keep it simple, keep it affordable, right? And that way you're going to enjoy it and you're going to stay doing it for a lot longer time. Okay, so this is pretty much what I want to finish up with. Something that can compact, right? You see how it stays together, right? But when I'm ready, it can fall apart just like that. That's a good soil that has good organic matter. The organic matter is going to hold on to moisture. All of these little bits of old twigs, and you know, it's not fresh twigs, these are all things that have been breaking down for some time now. All right, so believe it or not, these are lettuce seeds. The blue seeds are Eden lettuce, and the brown ones are butter crunch lettuce. Okay, these are the seeds that we're going to be using. I know a lot of people didn't even know that lettuce grows from seed, but it does. You can also get it as a seedling, but I prefer to start lettuce from seed, and I'll explain a little bit about why that is right now. I can buy a lettuce seedling for 50 cents, and that's fine. It's not very expensive. But I can also get lettuce seeds, $10 a pack, and get maybe 100 seeds or more in that pack. Over time, it does add up, and I prefer that you spend the least amount possible, especially because there are some things that you can do with seeds that you just can't do with a lettuce seedling. I know that growing from seeds can be a little bit daunting, especially for the beginning gardener, and that's perfectly fine. I want to show you how easy this is. I set these seeds less than 2 weeks ago. These are Eden lettuce on this side and my butter crunch on this side here. I set these 2 weeks ago and already they're up and coming. And I'm going to leave all of these little seedlings in here. It's going to give me a nice hedge of lettuce, if you can imagine. And then afterwards, I'm not going to be harvesting these for their heads. I'm going to harvest them for their leaves. So as these grow up, I'm going to cut at the very top. And then I'm going to be doing a method called cut and come again, which is pretty much where I will be cutting the leaves, not allowing the plant to get to pure adulthood. As soon as it gets up to a nice level, I'm going to cut it, eat that for a week, and then I'm just going to come back maybe in a week, 2 weeks again, and it's going to be the same size. And I can maybe get that 3, 4, 5 times before I have to leave it and let it go to seed and become an adult. So So that's a good way of getting the most out of your lettuce. So again, these are my lettuce seeds, the blue being Eden lettuce. That's normally what you get in the market. Those have spiky ends to their leaves and they're green. The brown being butter crunch. You can also get these, not as often, but you can. And you get, they're a lot softer and they really do taste soft like butter. So I'm just going to sprinkle these in. I'm not worrying too much about spacing here. I actually want these lettuces to almost be growing on top of one another. Normally with vegetables you do want to pay attention to spacing, but lettuce is something that they can manage themselves. So if there's too many lettuce growing up in the same area, they'll actually kill one another out through a process called thinning, and that will give us the perfect spacing at the end of this. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a light layer just to cover up these seeds, nothing too much, nothing too heavy, and I pre-moisten my soil, so I don't need to put any more water on this. If you didn't pre-moist your soil, then you should put some water on it. Make sure that water drains out, but here I don't need to, and I'm just going to leave these. And please follow the Instagram because I'm going to be posting updates about the lettuce in this container. And this here is what your seeds could look like in just over a month. Look at all of that lettuce. Look at all of that green. And again, I'm not going to be pulling out these entire heads when I'm ready to eat it. I'm just going to cut off these leaves here and I'm going to let it spring back. Within 2 weeks, it's going to come back to this exact same size. And you're going to get a lot more value for your money. Our fourth step is going to be about watering. You want to make sure that your lettuce does not dry out. You don't want it to get waterlogged. You don't want to water it every single day and just stuff it up with too much of water, because that could rot the roots. But at the same time, you want to make sure that that soil is nice and evenly moist as much as possible. And with the soil mix that I just showed you, that will allow for you to be able to water maybe once every 2 to 3 days and retain that moisture so that you're not having to water every single day. And our last step is going to be about fertilizing. Now lettuce, you're growing it specifically for the leaves. If you watch my video on fertilizing, you're going to remember that plants need nitrogen for that leafy growth, for that development. That's what we want to focus on with our lettuce. Yes, we want to give it something balanced at the beginning. I'm going to give it a nice 1-1-1 fertilizer, but maybe every 3 weeks to a month, I'm going to give it a nice feeding of nitrogen, and that will allow it to grow nice, big, healthy leaves that we're going to enjoy in our salads and sandwiches and whatever you do with your lettuce. And that's pretty much it for this lettuce growing guide. Thank you so much for watching. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, please share this video with them so that they can grow more food for themselves and their family. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll be happy to get back to you on that. Also feel free to tag the TheTriniGardener channel on Instagram when you grow your nice lettuce at home in your gardens. I'll be really happy to see what you're getting up to. This has been Dylan with the TheTriniGardener channel, reminding you to get up and get growing. I'll see you in the next one.